Two huge wins in the Champions League saw us scrape through to the knockout stages, but with our best player unable to hit a barn door and a bad loss against Premier League rivals Manchester City, we're going to have to step things up in the second half of the season if we want to win our first piece of silverware in this Everton career mode. And as ever, if you're enjoying the series so far, please feel free to like and subscribe, and let's get into today's episode. Now, at 88 rated, Johan Bakayoko is by far and away the best player in my squad. And on paper, with him scoring 5 goals and getting 5 assists in just 18 appearances in all competitions, it would seem he's having a fairly decent season. However, playing with him in the last few games, he's had absolute shockers, just unable to hit the target in several games, which led me to introduce the 24-year-old Brazilian Yan Couto into the starting 11, and he did more than repay my faith in him, scoring 2 goals in our pivotal game in the Champions League against Bayern Leverkusen, helping us just about scrape through the group stage, finishing off in second place and securing a round of 16 tie against the German club RB Leipzig. Now, obviously, Yan Couto doesn't come anywhere close to being as good of a player as the young Belgian Johan Bakayoko, but it seems like I'm not the only one who's been questioning the performances of the young man, as it seems like he's been reading the exact same things in the press, and that is why he came knocking on my door seeking assurances of his future at the club. But I think for the first time in this entire career mode, we finally have someone who can genuinely compete with him for that starting position on the right hand side of midfield, and I've just got to hope that Bakayoko can show that he does have that something special, can lift the terrible morale he seems to find himself in at the moment, and to go back to finally establishing himself as one of the best players in the entire Premier League. Speaking of the Premier League though, we are in a bit of a pickle, having found ourselves right down the bottom half of the table in the early stages. We did manage to fight our way back up to top spot, but a few disappointing results and a bad loss against Manchester City means they have carved out a 7-point lead ahead of us with just 16 games played. And with me only having £12 million left in my budget, with the January transfer window just a couple of weeks round the corner, I am certainly not going to have enough money to try and bring in any new player who can improve my starting 11, which means I'm relying on the players I've already got at the club to again lift their morale and hopefully guide us to a better position in the second half of the season. Now, as you know, I've shifted between several different formations and tactics across this entire career mode, and most recently I've reverted back to this more balanced 4-3-3 attack-minded formation, but with a few more favourable ties ahead of us, the likes of Wolves at home in the league, the likes of Burnley at home in the Carabao Cup, and the likes of West Ham away from home. I think it's time for me to revert back to the more attack-minded 3-5-2, and to try and see if I can link my two strikers up together again to see if I can get the best out of this man, Brian Brobby, in particular. Now, the Dutchman joined Everton Football Club just last season and established himself as our number 1 striker and our highest rated striker. However, this season he hasn't hit the ground running as well as he did last year, and with him only being 84, he has been usurped as our number 1 striker by this man, Youssoufa Moukoko. He's up to 85, he scored 8 goals in the Premier League and 11 goals in all competitions, and he has well and truly established himself not just as our best striker, but as one of the best in the entire Premier League. However, I am hoping with the shift back to having 2 strikers up front together, hopefully Moukoko can retain his current form, and hopefully it will bring out the best of the Dutchman Brian Brobby as well. But it seemed to have an adverse effect, with us not being able to secure 3 points at home against Wolves, as the only goal from Jota isn't enough. It's cancelled out at the start of the second half, and we drop 2 points. It's 1-1. And things go from bad to worse, as another opportunity for us to win silverware this season is snatched away from us. At Goodison Park, we lose 1-0 to Burnley, and that is a really tough result to take. It's another opportunity for silverware that's gone begging, and with the board's expectations continuing to be sky high for the remainder of the season, it's another lost opportunity that piles even more pressure on my shoulders to finally win silverware at the 4th season of asking. But finally, at the 3rd time of asking in this episode, we get back on track. We're finally back in the win column courtesy of 2 Brian Brobby goals and a Yan Couto goal sandwiched in between as we beat West Ham away from home 3-2. The 2 men whom I spoke of at the beginning of the episode coming back and showing me why I was right to put faith in them, and showing that neither of them are willing to give up the fight for a starting spot in my starting 11. And whilst Spurs may have leapfrogged us in the Premier League up to 2nd place, we have managed to cut the lead to Manchester City to just 4 points. But of course, with our arch rivals Liverpool, the team that we are going to be entertaining up next at Goodison Park, they will be absolutely desperate to put the brakes on our Premier League resurgence here, and to make sure that they can put a dent in our title hopes this season. And yes, while we are facing off against a huge club, I am making a huge and very bold decision to stick with this complete attacking-minded 3-5-2 formation here, and that means that Jordan Pickford starts in goal, Lacroix, Mark Gay and Branthwaite start at the back, Onana, O'Reilly and Alex Scott start in midfield with Emile Smith-Rowe on the left, Bakayoko on on the right, and of course the two main men, Brian Brobby and Moukoko, both start up front. So here we go then, a big game under the lights here at Goodison Park, and a wonderful opportunity for us to stick the nail in the Liverpool coffin here and really well and truly establish ourselves as the biggest club in Liverpool. It will be Almada who will have a free kick here though for Liverpool in the opening 5 minutes, which he's going to throw into the box. It's headed away though by the striker Moukoko, who is back defending, and in the end Bakayoko manages to win the ball away, and now he can streak down this right hand side. Look at the space he's got to run into. Has he got the pace to get away from Konate? No, he doesn't, but he checks back inside into the centre, looks for the ball into Alex Scott. Got it all wrong. Potentially he could have taken on the shot himself, but he just has run out of a little bit of confidence, has he, at the moment, as the young Belgian. Into McAllister. McAllister weaving around, trying to find some sort of option up ahead of him, but in the end has to go back to the Frenchman Konate, who plays it out wide to Merlin, but Bakayoko once again wins it back in a high position, and he's going to try and go one-on-one with Konate, but Brian Brobby has it. Can he feed it into Moukoko? Looking for those two strikers to combine, but unfortunately enough, the ball just wasn't right. Liverpool clear their lines once again, and Arna to bring it out of defence, finds Emile Smith-Rowe on the left-hand side, who's come central. Nice little ball into Alex Scott, tries to turn it around the corner, into Moukoko, but got the ball wrong, and now Liverpool can try and break away with Almada. Goes out to the left-hand side to Luis Diaz, who has the pace to get away from Mark Gay, who's frantically trying to chase back, but he's just absolutely being run ragged down that right-hand side, and Almada comes across. Jordan Pickford, though, makes himself big. That is a huge save in the context of this game. My word, he's kept us in it, but my word, yet again, Bakayoko has been given the opportunity to drive down this right-hand side. Instead, this time, I'm going to try and see if I can find a ball to the back post. Got it all wrong, but it's just headed back into the path of Moukoko. It's absolutely woeful defending from the Liverpool centre-backs. What on earth were they doing? It was gifted on a silver platter for Moukoko, and when you give the German that sort of opportunity, he will mop up with ease. Absolutely fabulous. Shameful defending from the Liverpool back line, but in the end Moukoko says thank you very much, slots it past Alisson to give us a 1-0 lead here at Goodison Park. Almada for Liverpool now to try and go past my defence. He does manage to go past my defence, goes past Mark Gay. It's all too easy for the Liverpool front man, and in the end Jordan Pickford comes to my rescue again, but my defence just fell asleep, having gone 1-0 up here. Really dangerous moments for Everton, and now Liverpool have a very dangerous corner. It is going to be thrown back in by that man Almada to the edge of the penalty area, but Anana with the header away, not very far though. Almada will pick it up again. Everything is coming through that man here today. He is the creative spark for the Liverpool Giants, but in the end they cannot seem to fashion a decent opportunity, but once again they've got it, and this time it's Evan Ferguson who just plays it over the bar in the end. Under a bit of pressure from this Liverpool press, but that is beautiful from the young Frenchman. Absolutely sensational stuff, and O'Reilly is going to play a sensational ball through into Alex Scott with his left foot, first time. Big save from Alisson, and it's going to be Emile Smith-Rowe who's going to take the resulting corner. He's going to throw it in, looking for the German Moukoko, and he gets his second with an almighty header that gave the Brazilian Alisson absolutely no chance whatsoever. He doubles our lead here at Goodison Park, much to the delight of the rest of the Everton players and fans alike. Well, it was a beautiful corner in by Emile Smith-Rowe, picked out his man perfectly, and Moukoko got ahead of the defenders yet again. More poor defending from the Liverpool back line, but once again Moukoko does not care one bit. Lovely header, looped over Alisson, had no chance whatsoever, and he gives us a 2-0 lead here at Goodison Park. Well, an almighty performance in the first half puts us in a commanding position in the second 45 minutes. Can we make sure that we get the job done, we stay professional, and we see out and gain what will be an absolutely massive 3 points here at Goodison Park? And we're now going to try and see if we can add a third to our tally here as Emile Smith-Rowe brings it down the line into Moukoko. Moukoko looks for Brian Brobby on his right, and Brian Brobby combines with his striking partner to get his first of the game. It's an assist from Moukoko, and it's absolutely beautiful. Brilliant build-up play. Yet again, Emile Smith-Rowe was involved, and yet again, of course, who else? Moukoko was involved. Once again, laid it on a plate, this time for Brian Brobby. Had a lovely little touch with the side foot just to place it in the bottom right-hand corner. Klopp is frustrated, 3-0. Branthwaite down the line into Emile Smith-Rowe, and he plays it into Moukoko, and Moukoko now has options ahead of him. He's going to try and find Emile Smith-Rowe, though, does find the Englishman, can't get past Gertruda. Good recovery defending. Emile Smith-Rowe won it back high, and Moukoko now has it, and Moukoko can release Bakayoko down this right-hand side. The Belgian now has an opportunity to lay it on a plate for Brian Brobby to strike. Strikes it straight at Alisson though. Goes down to Bakayoko yet again. We are just opening up this Liverpool team at will. O'Reilly back into Bakayoko. Lovely stuff. Brian Brobby tried to play it across unselfishly to Emile Smith-Rowe, and we were inches away there from a clear-cut opportunity. Mark Gay into Onana, and it's just wave after wave after wave here of Everton attack, but that ball was just a little bit loose, and now Liverpool finally have the opportunity to bring it into our half. It's been a really poor performance here from the Red Giants, and they've got to try and see if they can get a consolation and some pride here at Goodison Park. But in the end, we snuff out that attack, and yet again we've got a golden opportunity here to streak away. It's played into Bakayoko, who has managed to stay onside. He's got the option in the box, fires it across to the back post looking for Emile Smith-Rowe, and in the end it was Virgil van Dijk with a wonderful interception. Nico Gonzalez skips away from the challenge of Branthwaite, and now he can try and drive into space here, but Mark Gay comes across, and that is pretty much a hallmark of our play here. But then he's kind of giving it away in a really dangerous position, from one good thing to a terrible thing. Nico Gonzalez has it, lays it on a plate for Evan Ferguson, who smacks it against the post. Liverpool have had absolutely no luck here whatsoever. Fortunately enough for me though, that ended up being the last attack of the game. Look at the celebrations here. The players are absolutely delighted. The Liverpool players are crestfallen. They cannot quite believe they've come to their local rivals and been absolutely battered. Brian Brobby getting back on the score sheet. Full time here at Goodison Park. It's Everton 3, Liverpool 0. Well, it's absolutely everything that any Evertonian could ever wish for. A battering of your local rivals at home. Both of your strikers getting on the scoring and the assist sheet, as well as cutting the gap in the Premier League to the top spot, Man City, to just 2 points. Our fight for domestic silverware is well and truly back on. However, as we sit just one day away from the start of the January transfer window, and me realistically not having enough of a budget to try and bring in any new players, with the chief executive telling me that I'm at risk of losing 3 players on a free, I think it's time to shift our attention to try and tie down the contracts of some of our soon-to-be expired players. Now, you all know I made a pledge at the very beginning of this career mode to try and revive the career of Dele Alli. It hasn't gone exactly according to plan, with him only being 78 rated and now being 30 years of age, but he has been a really key figure for me across the first 3 seasons. He hasn't really featured as much as he potentially would like this season, with the likes of Mikael Damsgaard coming to the fore, and of course the arrival of Alex Scott in centre and central attacking midfield, but he is still an important figure at Everton Football Club, and with me wanting to live up to the promise I made to you at the very beginning, it's time to see if I can tie down the future of the former Tottenham wonderkid. Fortunately enough for me, he's okay with accepting a more sporadic position here in the squad, and he's more than happy to extend his contract by 1 more year, and it means that Dele Alli has at least 1 more season left in the Everton Blue. And speaking of blue, having come through the ranks of the Scottish Giants, Rangers, and joining Everton at a very young age, Nathan Patterson only has 6 months left on his contract. Once again, he too, like Dele Alli, hasn't really featured too much for me since the arrival of this man Teresiano, and especially since the change in formation to just 3 at the back. But with him likely being a key figure for Everton in real life, and with me keen to keep a core group of original Everton players at the club, he's happy to extend his contract for another 3 years. And it means that despite all the new players that I have brought in, I've managed to keep this man at the club, along with the likes of the England #1 Jordan Pickford, the 24-year-old Jarrad Branthwaite, central defensive midfielder James Garner, and the leader of men and the current club captain in this career mode, Ahamadou Onana. It's a mix of new players and a mix of original core Everton players, and I think it's the perfect blend of squad that I would love nothing more than to finally win a piece of silverware with. However, as we fast forward through the next few games, drawing away from home against Brighton, and fortunately enough just scraped through to the next round of the FA Cup courtesy of a late penalty miss from Sheffield United as we beat them 2-1. Once again, we're brought crashing back down to earth because of a late winner from Mendy for Bournemouth. Means we drop 3 points and lose at home 2-1. We do manage to knock Wolves out of the next round of the FA Cup though, courtesy of a 3-2 victory. But once again, it's up and down as West Ham back in the Premier League beat us 3-2 at home, before dropping even more points. This time it's back against Wolves once again, and once again it's another late goal that means we end up drawing the game 3-3. Well, I tell you what, it's been an incredibly tough winter period for us, and it's been so tough that it's seen us drop not only out of the Premier League title contention, but out of the Champions League places. We've dropped down to 5th, and we're now back to being 7 points behind league leaders Manchester City. Squad morale seems to be dropping, and James Garner is the man to show exactly why, as he's gone to the press. Apparently he's absolutely fuming from the sidelines due to a lack of game time. He says he needs more games, he said he's not getting enough for the good of his career. And you know what, with a huge game up next at Goodison Park against Manchester United, he's going to get his opportunity to try and shine. It's a wet and windy day here in Liverpool, but the crowd don't care one bit. I am hoping they can be the 12th man here today. We absolutely must get ourselves back in the win column. I'm sticking to this more attack-minded 3-5-2 formation. Pickford keeps his place in goal. Lacroix, Gay and Branthwaite at the back, and Arna, of course, is partnered by that man, James Garner, with Alex Scott playing in behind the strikers. Emile Smith-Rowe on the left. Jan Couto gets the nod on the right, and of course, Brian Brobby and Moukoko starts up front. So here we go then, a big game under the lights in a rain-soaked Liverpool City. We must get 3 points. We absolutely need to get our Premier League title aspirations back on track. Into Jan Couto. Couto back to Brobby. Brobby's going to try and see if he can feed it in to James Garner. Lovely ball into Jan Couto. Cuts it back into Moukoko. Shifts onto his left. Tried to just bundle his way past the strikers. In the end, couldn't manage to do it. And United get the ball clear. Di Lorenzo for United down the line into the path of Anthony. Branthwaite comes across though with a good challenge, but doesn't do a good enough job of clearing his lines. And United still have the ball alive with that man Anthony into Openda who blazes it over. Down the right hand side into that man Jan Couto who just streaks away. Really good stuff from the Brazilian. And he's got the pace now to burst down the right hand side. Has he got the wherewithal to pick out the right man though? Goes past the defender, throws it into the box just over the head of Emile Smith-Rowe. It was a good ball after some really good play. And Arna wins it back high. Really good stuff from the young Belgian. Into Emile Smith-Rowe, into Alex Scott, dances his way around the challenge and fires a shot just wide. Ashari for United, blocked off though by that man James Garner, eager to make an impression here today. Moukoko though drifts back onto his left. Really good stuff from the German. Moukoko tries to strike. Martinez comes across corner, and it's one that Emile Smith-Rowe is going to take. This game is being played at breakneck speed as Moukoko tries to get in on a looped header just like he did against Liverpool earlier on in the episode. Doesn't manage to do it though, but Jan Couto feeds it back into Emile Smith-Rowe. Doesn't really have too many men to try and find. Instead he's going to manage to bring it back into the box. Looks for Moukoko, who just drags his head wide. Going to be a free kick here for United in a very dangerous position. It's thrown into the box, headed away though by the towering Frenchman Lacroix. Nodded down by Onana. Into Alex Scott. It's well won back though. United keep the ball alive. Openda has it now. Into the box he goes. Into Oyan Sanset, who in the end scuffs his shot, and it's easy for Jordan Pickford. Emile Smith-Rowe now for Everton to try and see if he can run this ball down the channel, and he feeds it in to the path of Moukoko. Moukoko's going to try and go back around the corner into Emile Smith-Rowe. Lovely stuff between the two of them. Emile Smith-Rowe into Moukoko. Moukoko has it back yet again. Back out wide to Jan Couto. Takes it on his right. Looks to play it back into the path of Moukoko. It's blocked off by the United defence. Garner keeps the ball alive. Nods it down into the path of Alex Scott. He's looking for the right option here. Finds the right option of Brian Brobby, who forces Onana into a wonderful save. Right on the stroke of half-time. Emile Smith-Rowe has a corner. He's going to throw it in. Once again, looking for the head of Moukoko, who once again drags it wide. Well, here we go at the beginning of the second half, and it looks like we are going to start exactly the same way that we finished off the first. We absolutely peppered the United goal, but frustratingly, we couldn't find the breakthrough. Can we do so in the final 45 minutes? Lacroix into Alex Scott. He turns, looks for Moukoko, round the corner into Brian Brobby. Good play though by the two strikers, but Brian Brobby couldn't just force his way through the United box, and Sancho now to try and bring it away. Plays it down the line into Openda. He's got space to run into here. Mark Gay frantically trying to come across, but he hasn't got the pace to keep up with the young man. Openda back into Sancho. Into the box he goes. Can he find the right ball? He does find the right ball, and Jordan Pickford with a huge save. But it looks like in the melee, we've conceded a penalty. And what on earth has just happened? I thought the ball had gone out for a corner. What has just happened? We've given away a penalty. I've got no idea where that's come from. And United, within a blink of an eye, have taken a 1-0 lead. Well, we'll go back and we'll check the replay out, because I think it's to do with this challenge from Lacroix. Sancho had the ball in a really good position. Lacroix just came across. Well, I mean, there wasn't really that much in that, to be honest. The referee played advantage, and I thought that was a fair advantage. But in the end, he decided to take it back. And United, frustratingly for me, have gone and taken the lead. It was a wonderful penalty from Openda. Pickford, even if he dived the right way, had absolutely no chance whatsoever. And frustratingly, after battering them in the first half, they've taken the lead. Branthwaite tried to play it into Alex Scott, gave it away. We've got to make sure that our heads don't drop here. Openda into Sancho, looking to double their lead. Openda strikes. Good save, though, once again from Jordan Pickford. Jared Branthwaite into Moukoko, who's come deep to try and get involved in the play. Emile Smith-Rowe round the corner. Lovely ball into that man, Onana. Feeds it into Alex Scott. Really nicely done here. Brian Brobby right the way across into Jan Couto. Brilliantly done. Jan Couto, can he try and find the ball back into Brian Brobby? He does. In the end, it's blocked off. That would have been a wonderful goal if it had come to fruition. Down the line into Emile Smith-Rowe. Picks it up really nicely. Plays it into Moukoko. Moukoko gives it back to the Englishman, and Emile Smith-Rowe goes into the box, forces Onana into a save. We keep it alive with Bakayoko. Would he have been better of just letting it go out for a corner, but he has kept it alive. O'Reilly on as a substitute, tries to shift this one onto his left, line up a strike. In the end, forces Onana into a really good stop, and we do get the corner. It's going to be Emile Smith-Rowe to take, and he's going to try and throw it into the box yet again, looking for the header. Mukoku doesn't manage to reach him though. Di Lorenzo heads it clear, only out as far as Bakayoko. Emile Smith-Rowe keeps the ball alive, throws it in, and Martinez is the man who heads it clear. Can we keep the ball alive ourselves? In the end, Kim Min-jae with an acrobatic clearance, and in the end, United clear their lines. Mark Gay into Onana. It is all Everton here in the final few minutes of this game. Brian Brobby turns really nicely, and yet again though, it's Alphonso Davies with a big challenge. Onana strikes, puts it wide. Onana wins it back in the heart of midfield, plays it into Emile Smith-Rowe, and Damsgaard now can play it down the line into Mukoku. Mukoku brings it onto his right. Mukoku still going. Mukoku strikes, it's dragged wide, courtesy of a deflection of Kim Min-jae. Once again, we have another corner. Everyone forward. Bakayoko's going to be the man to throw this one in. Once again, looking for Mukoku. Once again, doesn't manage to find him. Damsgaard will throw it back out to Bakayoko, who once again will throw it back in. This time I was looking for Brian Brobby. Only managed to find Emile Smith-Rowe with the head, and it wasn't enough as the referee calls time. Well, this disappointing run of form that we find ourselves on continues as we do not manage to pick up 3 points here at Goodison Park. In fact, we throw 3 points away. That man, Lewis Openda, his penalty was the difference here today. As United win at full time 1-0. Well, it is not the result we wanted one bit. The press are now on my case, demanding to know why the club are struggling for form this season. And they're not the only ones, as my confidence rating with the board has plummeted. I am in a desperate situation here. And are the walls starting to close in on my Everton managerial career? But if they are, I am not going to go down without a fight. And that is why we are switching away from the stresses of the Premier League and turning our attention back to Europe's biggest cup competition. That is right, it is Champions League time under the lights here at Goodison Park, and it's finally time to try and turn our season around. It's a huge game, and I think I need a little bit more balance in my starting 11, and that's why I've switched back to this 4-3-3 formation. Pickford keeps his place in goal, Teresiano comes back in, as does Mark Gay and Branthwaite partnering each other, and Hato on the left-hand side. Onana, Riley and Damsgaard starts in the middle, Emile Smith-Rowe on the left, Bakayoko on the right, and Mukoku starts up front. Well, this is a big game, and we must put ourselves in a strong position heading into the second leg here against RB Leipzig. We managed to beat them the last time we played them in the Champions League. We're going to have to repeat that feat here today if we're going to try and see if we can secure our path through to the knockout stages. As we start off here, Mukoku got the drag back, but in the end just scuffed his shot, and it was easy for the goalkeeper. Teresiano into Bakayoko. Bakayoko continues infield, looking for a run of Mukoku. Has he managed to stay on side? It looks like he has. The German has fired us into a 1-0 lead that is not meant to be, because it does turn out that he has been flagged for offside. Teresiano now to bring it out of defence, finds Bakayoko yet again, heavily involved so far in this game, and now he's going to try and see if he can head down this right hand side. Doesn't have any options whatsoever in the box though, so he's going to have to try and slow up play here and just wait for the runs. He finds Damsgaard, who can't find the back of the net. It's blocked off. In the end, that's a big chance that's gone begging. Baldanzi for Leipzig. Is anyone going to come across to try and cover and challenge? No, they don't. Marquet can't get there in time. Jordan Pickford does, though. But apparently, we've given away a free kick in a really dangerous position. It's going to be Jimenez who's going to step up here, fires it over, and smashes it against the crossbar. My word, we got away with one there. Udogi now for RB Leipzig. Clearly made the move over from Spurs. Baldanzi now makes his way into the box. Santiago Jimenez with an opportunity to try and make amends from the earlier free kick. But once again, Jordan Pickford is equal to it. But RB Leipzig starting to pile the pressure on here, and they've got a corner here that they're going to throw into the box. It is thrown in, once again looking for Jimenez, and once again Jordan Pickford manages to get a hand to it, and it's beaten away by my defence. Udogi for RB Leipzig just goes past two of my players and continues run, flicks it back though into Elmas. RB Leipzig starting to turn the screw, but in the end O'Reilly wins the ball back in a really dangerous position, and he just continues his run, manages to go past the defender, but he just doesn't have the pace to get away from Rudiger. But oh my word, I thought he was going to be able to bundle his way through, but in the end it was good defending. Elmas into Nicholas Jackson, into Jimenez once again, throws it across into Udogi, who takes it down nicely, tries to burst into the box, goes one-on-one with Teresiano, can't manage to find a way around him, and Teresiano almost won the ball back, but Nicholas Jackson just gets there ahead of him. But Teresiano with some good defending. He's been in and out of the team this year, but my word, when he has come back into it, he has been absolutely perfect. Well, it was an end-to-end first half. I would argue in the first 15 or 20 minutes we had control of the game and looked like we were going to be able to score, but we just lost our away a little bit towards the back end of the first half, and we were very lucky to keep the scores level at 0-0. We've got to try and see if we can change tact here at the start of the second, as Bakayoko feeds his way into the box here, plays it into Mokoku on his right, blocked, corner. Much better start to this half, and it's going to be Emil Smith-Rowe who's going to take the corner, throws it in, looking for the head of Hato, doesn't manage to, it will go out for another corner. And once again, Emil Smith-Rowe will be the man to take, and once again I'm going to throw it into the box, this time looking for Jared Branthwaite. It's Juan Foyth who gets on the end of it first though. Mokoku back into Emil Smith-Rowe, back out to Riley, Riley into Branthwaite, looking for some sort of option, manages to find Bakayoko, cuts it back into the centre-back. Branthwaite though isn't the really man I want in that sort of position, manages to keep hold of the ball, he's just wriggling around, finds Bakayoko, Bakayoko into the box, into Hato, just took a touch. I wanted him to hit it first time, didn't manage to, but he has managed to find Mokoku who strikes, and it's a big save from the goalkeeper. This time it will be a corner on the other side of the pitch, and this time it will be Bakayoko to throw it in, looking for the head of Hato. Nicholas Jackson though was too big and strong for him and hacked the ball clear. Mark Gay into Jared Branthwaite, all the way out to the left-hand side to Hato. Hato goes infield, looking for Emil Smith-Rowe, doesn't manage to find him. Baldanze now can try and bring this one away into the path of Jackson again. Cuts it back into King. Leipzig charting now to see if they can turn the screw and turn the wheels here and get themselves back into contention. Damsgaard though, oh my word, he had a wonderful opportunity to streak away, but he got his footing all wrong. In the end though, Mark Gay wins it back and then gives it away just as quickly. Baldanze in the box, into Santiago Jimenez, and Pickford comes to my rescue. Well, the fans are getting their money's worth today, of that there can be no doubt, but so far neither team is able to find the breakthrough, as it's a pretty easy corner in the end to defend. Jordan Pickford wins it well and releases Emil Smith-Rowe, who hasn't got the pace to continue his run, but he has got the wherewithal to win it back, and then all he had to do was just play a ball down the channel. Didn't get the ball right, and now that's a wonderful opportunity that's gone begging, and now Leipzig have another opportunity to bring it forward, but it's Jared Branthwaite with a big challenge, tried to play it into Emil Smith-Rowe. The passing from us in this second half just hasn't been quite right. Into the box goes Klosterman. Klosterman tries to go past Matson, who's on as a sub, wins it well though. It's fired over into the path of the substitute Ian Matson, who took it down really nicely and just streaks into the centre, finds Alex Scott, who strikes from distance. Good save from the goalkeeper. Well, in the end, both teams knocked and knocked and knocked at the door, but neither were able to knock it down. It finishes here at Goodison Park 0-0, and you've got to be honest, Leipzig of the two teams I'm sure will be the happier, as the second leg will return to Germany and they will go in clear favourites to try and secure their place in the next round of the Champions League. It's a goalless stalemate, and we certainly have that man Jordan Pickford to thank. Yes, it's still in our hands in the second leg, but it's going to be a really tough ask to go to Germany and secure the win. And elsewhere in the Premier League is our season starting to unravel. Only 44 points on the board. We are now a colossal 13 points behind Manchester City, and is this a gap that is insurmountable and one that we just cannot catch? However, that is going to be that for the end of today's episode. I hope you did enjoy it as much as I did. Thank you everyone for watching, and I'll see you again next time.